Hold on. Make it happen. Thanks for something. There. Yeah.
Ready? Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Neighbors, and I'm from the Clerk of the Board's Office of the County of Santa Clara. It's my first meeting tonight, so thank you for having me. And I would like to welcome you all to the Cities Association of Santa Clara County City Selection Committee meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:33 p.m. and I will call the roll. Campbell, Mayor Bybee. Cupertino, Mayor Way. Here. Gilroy, Mayor Blankley. Here. Los Altos, Mayor Meadows. Here. Los Altos Hills, Mayor Swan. Thank you.
Mayor Swan is in Arizona.
Thank you. Los Gatos, Mayor Risco. Is there anyone from Los Gatos here tonight?
Yes, Matthew Hudis or Rob Rennie.
Thank you. Milpitas, Mayor Montano. Here. Monte Sereno, Mayor Megachuk.
Present.
Thank you. Morgan Hill, Mayor Turner.
Here.
Mountain View, Mayor Hick.
Pat Showalter's here for Mountain View.
Thank you. Palo Alto, Mayor Koo. Here. San Jose, Mayor Mahan. Rosemary Kamei, Vice Mayor. Thank you. Hey, Santa Clara, Mayor Gilmore. Is there anyone from Santa Clara here tonight?
I'm Kevin Park, Vice Mayor of Santa Clara.
Thank you. Saratoga, Mayor Fitzsimmons. Sunnyvale, Mayor Klein.
Present.
You have a quorum. And the first item on the agenda tonight is the election of the City Selection Committee Chair. I'm going to open the floor.
I'd like to make a nomination, please. I'd like to move to have Brian Mekachek as the committee chair for the City Election Committee. Do we need a second?
I'll second.
Motion.
Hard for a moment as it's difficult to clerk and chair the meeting at the same time.
Thank you for being patient. Yeah, and that was who from who was the okay, the motion on the floor is Mekachuk, and that was motioned by Koo and seconded by Hudis. And I'm going to have a roll call vote at this time. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to nominate Sunnyvale Mayor Larry Klein as chair.
Thank you.
Second.
That was the second. That was the first one. I was wait. Okay, and then the second nomination is for Klein with a motion by Way and second by Showalter. No other nominations. I will have a roll call vote. Oh, excuse me.
So for expediency, I will withdraw and go for vice chair next. So that's so there you have it.
That you're already going to be that he's already going to be chairman.
No, I'm
Vice chair
saying,
has to be nominated.
yeah.
With that nomination process.
Okay. So the nomination is for Mayor Klein on the floor with a Motion by Way and a second by Showalter, correct? Okay, now may I call the roll? And I'm gonna call for expediency, I'm gonna call by city. Okay. Campbell. Cupertino.
Aye.
Gilroy.
I'm sorry, I'm voting yes for Mekachek as chair and Klein as vice chair.
No, just Klein.
Klein is chair. There's the motion on the floor.
Klein as chair is the motion and Mekachek has removed himself. I can't see who said that before.
That's correct.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Los Altos.
Yes.
Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
Los Gatos.
Yes.
Milpitas.
I'd like to hear something from the person that wants to be the chair. Why do they want to be the chair?
I'd be so I'll be very short. So I've been mayor now for 4 years. I've been part of the cities association off and on for about 6 years now. From a selections committee standpoint, and a process standpoint, we found out that some of the process, one of the reasons why we have the county clerk here, we actually hadn't been doing everything perfectly before, and thanks to our attorney who went through the details of this, and for me it's important, from a selection committee standpoint, to make sure that this goes smoothly. I've been part of this process for many years and have been already talking to the city clerk or the county clerk about how to make sure this meeting goes as quickly as possible. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do it.
Thank you. So yes.
Thank you. Monte Sereno.
Aye.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
Palo Alto.
Yes.
San Jose.
Aye.
Santa Clara.
Yes.
Saratoga.
Aye.
And Sunnyvale. Motion passes.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the election of the vice chair. I'll take nominations.
I nominate Mama Sereno Mayor Mekachek as vice chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, lots of seconds. I'll let the county clerk figure that out. Are there any other nominations?
I like to hear it from you. What do you want to do?
So, Monte Sereno, we're very small, but we want to contribute to the region, to the community. And this is my 3rd year on council. And I have learned from other chairs, for example, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, from Liz Gibbons, who was a wonderful chair there. And I'd like to learn from Larry.
Thank you.
And seeing no other nominations, are there any members of the public remote who wish to speak on this item?
Yes. See any members of the public raising their hand?
Thank you. Any members of the public in the room wish to speak on this item? No. Is there any advocacy?
I would like to say something.
Sure.
Yeah, I served with Brian on the VTA PAC committee, and we served together as the selection committee, nominating committee as well. And he actually went out and worked really hard in vetting the people that we nominated, spoke to a lot of people, made a lot of phone calls, and I really appreciated his contributions in terms of questions, finding out more about the individuals. So he really worked very hard on it, and I really appreciated that.
Any other advocacy? Seeing none, we will move to a vote.
Campbell. Aye. Cupertino.
Aye.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Los Altos.
Yes.
Los Altos Hills.
Aye.
Los Gatos.
Aye.
Milpitas.
Aye.
Monte Sereno.
Aye.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
Palo Alto.
Yes.
San Jose.
Aye.
Santa Clara.
Yes.
Saratoga.
Aye.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, our next item is consent agenda. So this is the approval of the April 14th, 2022 City Selection Committee meeting minutes, which have been attached. I know several of you weren't in the meeting. That being said, you can still approve them if you wish. Are there any comments on the meeting, on the consent calendar item? Sorry. Any member of the public wishing to speak? Any members in person?
My only question is, for the people that were at the meeting, are the minutes accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Review.
Move approval?
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second. Montano.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, vote. Campbell. Cupertino. Gilroy.
Yes.
Los Altos. Yes. Los Altos Hills.
Abstain.
Los Gatos.
Yes.
Milpitas.
Yeah.
Monte Sereno.
Aye.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
Palo Alto.
Abstain.
San Jose. Abstain. Santa Clara.
Abstain.
Saratoga. Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So we'll move to item 4, appointments and letters of interest that are submitted. And we'll go, and so we'll just kind of give an overview of this process. What we'll be doing is similarly taking nominations from the floor, and we have, certain nomination letters for, at least for this section, for each of these. The nominee has 90 seconds to basically advocate for themselves. We'll then take advocacy from the public as well as members in the room, and then we'll go through a random order voice vote for each of these. And these will be slightly different depending upon how many positions are open in the different sections. But hopefully we will get through this process relatively quickly and as we get used to it. But ultimately it's depends on how many nominees we have for each of these positions. So our first position is item 4A, the SEC, the Santa Clara County Airport Land Use Commission, with a term expiring 5/6/24. And so ultimately we have a single nominee letter. Are there any other nominees in the room or remote? No? Okay, so we have a single nominee. Russ, would you like to do some advocacy?
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for a quick opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Russ Melton. I'm a council member in the city of Sunnyvale, where I've had the honor of serving for the last 6 years. The Cities Association appoints 2 individuals to the Santa Clara County Airport Land Use Commission. One of your appointees is Lisa Matichak from the city of Mountain View, and the other appointee was my former colleague, Glenn Hendricks from the city of Sunnyvale. I served as Glenn's alternate for the past 5 years, and in that time have attended roughly half of the ALUC meetings. So I feel like I know my way around. I understand what ALUC does, but also as importantly, I understand what ALUC does not do. So that's all detailed in my letter, and I hope to have the support of the Cities Association City Selection Committee meeting tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Russ. Is there any remote person who wishes to do advocacy? Thank you. Is there any advocacy for those in the room? Let me do a quick bit of advocacy. So I've been working with Glenn and Russ for multiple years, and especially being a past planning commissioner before council, it's really important as we start looking at airport land use and the land use of landing strips and all of that, which this board is really in charge of. Russ and his predecessor Glenn have actually educated me quite a bit on what this board does, and I think obviously him serving as Glenn's alternate for multiple years makes him the best candidate for this. So I'm urging those in the room to also choose our single candidate. With that, let's have a voice vote.
All right, Milpitas.
Yes.
Palo Alto. Yes. Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yeah.
Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
Los Altos.
Yes.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Monte Sereno.
Aye.
San Jose. Santa Clara.
Yes.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Apologies. That was the second one.
I get 2 votes now.
Cupertino. Hey, Monte Sereno was voted. Gilroy.
Yes.
Los Gatos.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
Thank you. and Santa Clara.
Yes.
I do not think I missed anyone. Apologies, Saratoga? Thank you. Now I think I got everyone. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, I will move on to our next item for B, Bay Area Air Quality Management District. We have 3 letters of interest. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Being none, and no remote nominee. Okay, let's go ahead and hear from the 3 candidates yes, we have somebody else. So we hear from the 3 candidates who wish to speak. First, Sergio.
Thanks so much. So,
And just, everyone has 90 seconds and you'll hear a timer when it's done.
thank you. So here's my progress report since you put me to work about half a year ago. So one of the first things I did was follow up with anyone who had questions from that meeting. So it's good to see you back, Mayor Montano. I traveled around the Bay Area, the South Bay, meeting with people on my own time. Secondly, about a month into the job, our county was at risk of losing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars of grant money. So I connected, the Air District had been unable to get in touch with the right people. So I made sure that we got that grant money for wildfire resiliency going to San Jose and Gilroy. Third, I was the only member from Santa Clara County who was involved in the ad hoc subcommittee to appoint the new Air District Executive Director. That's arguably the single most important thing we did all year. I put in many dozens of hours on that board, recruiting and going through an ambitious timeline, interviewing many candidates, and finally appointing the new officer at a public meeting. So I'm really excited to hopefully continue this work. This work is personal to me. I grew up in a working class, low income, first generation immigrant family facing the effects of environmental racism. So I feel this work personally. I'd love to continue working. The major focuses of the Air District this year will be equity and righting the ship under the new executive officer. So I'd love to be able to be someone who has experience in both those areas who can continue the work and continue to work for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Very good. Next up, so anyone wishes to speak for Rob Rennie? Yes.
So I would like to speak in support of Rob Rennie.
Actually, do you want, as opposed to advocacy, do you, or is this? I'll leave it for advocacy later and we'll,
that's fine.
We'll do that.
Okay, that's going to be the same message. By the way, a question, Chair.
Yes.
Are we voting for 1 or 2?
So we'll be voting for 2 on this. This is one of the odd ones that we have 2 similar terms.
Thank you, Chair.
And
Thank you. I'm Vicki Vinker, council member in Palo Alto, and I'm very excited about the prospect of possibly serving on BACMED because it feels like a very good fit. I have a degree in biochemistry. I spent 35 years as a patent lawyer working with scientists at Stanford and other places, writing technical reports, cross-examining them and understanding things that I think would be an asset for this position. I've also have a deep environmental background. I was at an EV ribbon cutting this morning. I brought Assistant Secretary Nuri from the Department of Energy to a Palo Alto Climate Summit in November, and I'll be serving on our SCAP. I also have years and years of experience counseling organizations through difficult bet the company issues. And I was a board president of a large nonprofit when they had an executive director transition. And I know there's a lot of flux right now in the executives in this organization. And I think that experience will be an asset. I also note that almost 2/3 of the board members are men, and that some of what's going on at BACMED are some allegations of racist and sexist language. And I think responding from a diverse board is very helpful, and obviously it can help with that. I have great respect for both Rob and Sergio, and I would be delighted to serve with either of them. And I respectfully and humbly ask you for that opportunity. Thank you.
thanks very much. Okay. Are there any remote people who wish to speak on this item?
I see no hands raised.
Okay. Advocacy for any of the candidates? Go right ahead.
This is Matthew Hudis from Los Gatos. I wanted to comment on Rob Rennie's candidacy. I think Rob would be excellent to continue in his position on this board. He's served for a number of years. He would provide some continuity as there has been quite a bit of turnover. My understanding is that the role is quite technical and the issues are often ones that require some study and preparation to be able to analyze. The other aspect of Rob's background is that he is very involved in many environmental activities in the Bay Area, and he is one of the founding board members and second chair of Silicon Valley Clean Energy. And the work done on BACMed is sort of adjacent to the work on clean energy, and he brings a great deal of knowledge from those as well. Long-term advocate of a member of the Sierra Club, and has worked within the community of Los Gatos and at large on environmental issues, and we believe he'd be an excellent candidate.
Thank you. Is there any other advocacy? Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you so much. I'd like to advocate for Councilmember Vicky Vinker for the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. Vicky has been endorsed by both the Sierra Club and the League of Conservation of Voters. She was during the campaign, which was just recent, she was the only candidate that was endorsed by both. She's also on our city's Sustainability and Climate Change Action Committee. And the city of Palo Alto has a very high interest as a priority to not look only at the tech side of sustainability, but also our natural environment. And so therefore, with air quality, a lot of it has to do with our natural environment, especially our trees, and also to address sea level rise, the natural marshlands. And Vicky's very aware of that, Councilmember Vinker. And so I think that she will bring a whole package for us in advocating and on representing the city's association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Any other advocacy? Go right ahead.
I had applied for this position previously and didn't get that position, but I do know that the technical requirements are very high and having experience is very important. And when I say experience, I mean experience in process and in the environment. So I would advocate for both Rob and Vicky.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
So I'm advocating, I'm a huge believer in diversity. And as we just heard from Vicky, the board right now consists of mostly males. So I really would advocate for Vicky on that, just on that fact that she would have a woman's perspective on it. And also not only that, but her background. Very impressed with her background and in her legal background and her scientific background. And I'm also advocating for Sergio Lopez because we need more people that represent the changing culture, and also his background as well. And not only do you have to have the academic skills, but you also have to have someone that's there advocating for you. Like he said, he went to the federal government and trying to get some resources for. So you also have to have somebody that's a great advocate. So I'm advocating for Sergio and Vicky. And this is not to say that Rob is not doesn't have the skills, but I think I need to see more diversity on that board.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go right
Actually, I have a question,
Sure.
but is this an okay time?
Absolutely.
Did we hear from Councilmember Rennie as to why he is not here tonight? Has there been a?
He's out of town and wasn't able to attend.
Curious if he had sent in a.
He sent in his letter.
Well, I know he sent in his letter.
Hadn't-
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? And so at this point, we'll be giving two names.
It'd be helpful to briefly go over the process for,
Okay, thank you.
since our previous one was entirely unopposed. So as a general matter, for those who I have not yet met, my name is Mary Hannah Weir. I'm Deputy County Counsel for the County of Santa Clara. I'm currently serving as your interim general counsel for the Sunny's Association. So for process generally, in compliance with the Brown Act, all votes must be made public and identified with the person who cast the vote. So we will be doing a roll call vote for each of the votes. For this position, since there are two positions, can cast up to 2 votes for different people, so not 2 votes for one person. And generally, the 2 nominees with the highest vote tally will be selected, so long as they received at least 8 votes. As there are 15 members of the body, at least 8 votes are needed to take action. So if there are not 2 that received at least 8 votes, or there are ties, we have some additional procedures. So if there's only 1 that received at least 8, then we'll do a runoff among the next top 2, if there are, including any ties. If there's nobody who receives at least 8, then we'll do a runoff among the top 3, including anybody who's tied, which obviously in this instance would be the same 3. And so on and so forth. And similarly for if in subsequent seats that you all are talking about, where there's just a vote for 1, we have similar tie breaking procedures, including that it was determined in advance by the executive board that we would do a maximum of 3 votes. So the first vote and then 2 runoffs. And then at that point, we'll just draw lots because we all have other places to be and other things to do. So when the clerk calls the roll, and we'll do our best to randomize the order of the cities, please bear with us as we are doing the randomization on the fly. You can each cast 2 ballots, and so provide 2 names, and we will tally them over here. We're going to do our best over here, and we'll let you know, and then we'll see whether or not anything else are needed. Are there any questions on the process?
Just a clarification, when our cities called, we're to say 2 names.
Correct. If for some reason you only want to cast 1 ballot, that is you're allowed to do so.
Ready? Okay. Morgan Hill,
Rennie and Vinker.
Sunnyvale,
Lopez and Biegner.
San Jose. Lopez and Vinegar. Monty Sereno.
Rennie and Vinkner. Vinker.
Thank you. Campbell. Lopez and Rennie. Gilroy.
Rennie and Vinker.
Milpitas.
Lopez and Vinker.
Palo Alto.
Vinker and Lopez.
Los Altos Hills.
Vinker and Lopez.
Campbell.
I only voted.
Oh, apologies. Los Altos.
Lopez and Vinker.
Cupertino.
Lopez and Vinker.
Santa Clara.
Rennie and abstain as to not give a bench.
Mountain View.
Rennie and Vinker.
Saratoga.
Rennie, Lopez.
Los Gatos.
Rennie and Vinker.
Thank you. Would you like me to announce the vote tally then?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we have 8 votes for Rennie, 9 votes for Lopez, 12 votes for Vinker.
Okay. So,
So we have Vinker and Lopez.
perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
That moved relatively smoothly. Thank you. Our next item is the Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO. We have 1 letter from Russ Melton. Are there any other nominations? Oh, yeah, that's no other nominations. Russ, would you like to say a few words?
I would. Hello again, everybody. Russ Melton from the city of Sunnyvale. I wanted to say thank you, City Selection Committee, for your faith in me a couple of minutes ago on ALA. By the way, I also serve as your appointee to the Silicon Valley Regional Interoperability Authority, where I serve as chairperson of the board. And I'm asking for your confidence and support again tonight for the Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, here in the county of Santa Clara. I've served as your alternate board member on LAFCO from the Cities Association for the past 6 years. So I'd like to say that I know my way around. I've attended 95% of the LAFCO meetings in that time. I currently serve as chair of the LAFCO Finance Subcommittee, and I also served as chair of the Organizational Structuring Committee of LAFCO a couple of years ago. LAFCO is a very important agency, and I put in my letter of interest the things that the state of California finds important for LAFCO, and I support all of those as LAFCO considers land use applications from the 15 cities. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. We'll move on to advocacy. Are there any remote people who wish to speak?
I see one hand raised in the attendees list. They will be given, how long would you like?
1 minute.
1 minute? Okay. All right, you will now be unmuted. You will have 1 minute to speak. Alice Kaufman.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, mayors and council members. My name is Alice Kaufman. I'm Policy and Advocacy Director with Green Foothills, which is an open space organization devoted to protecting open space, farmland, and natural resources in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. And I'd like to speak on behalf of Russ Melton's candidacy. Councilmember Melton has served diligently as an alternate on LAFCO for the past 6 years and has been notable for his consistent attendance at meetings, his thorough preparation, and his understanding of the policies LAFCO is charged with carrying out. As an organization dedicated to protecting open space and farmland, Green Foothills understands the critical importance of the decisions LAFCO makes, and we believe Councilmember Melton would be the best choice for the city seat on LAFCO. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there are no more participants online wishing to speak.
Thank you. Is there any advocacy from the room? And I'll just do a quick bit of advocacy. You know, this is one of the things of why we have an alternate structure is have people that are, as we heard from our public, people who are there as alternates to learn the position, to come up to speed, and ultimately become our primary appointee. So I thank Russ for his service as our alternate for many years. And, you know, I'm hoping that other people we can make him our primary representative tonight. And with that, seeing no other advocacy, may we have a voice vote?
Los Gatos.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
San Jose.
Yes.
Monte Sereno.
Aye.
Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
Cupertino. Santa Clara.
Yes.
Palo Alto.
Yes.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Los Altos.
Yes.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Milpitas.
Yes.
San Jose. Saratoga, sorry. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is for DMTC. We have 3 letters of interest. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to add their name? Is there anyone remote who?
I see one member of the public with their hand raised. It's Susan Landry. Would you like me to have any time or just allow her to talk?
Let's see. Yeah, let's see if it's She wasn't one of the, no. Yeah, let's see if she is throwing a nomination.
All right, yes.
Susan Langi, you'll now be unmuted.
Yes, hi. Hang on here. We're having the echo on our end, so hold on real quick. Okay, I think, I'm actually here with Dan Furtado. He's logged in with me and he was here to speak if you need him to.
Okay. We will ask him to speak, and actually, we can ask him to speak now. Susan?
Okay.
So we're moving on. So we had no other nominations. So we'll allow each nominee to speak for 90 seconds. So go ahead, Dan, when you get a chance. And I'll stop you.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening. Yes, thank you very much. I have applied to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. Although I was recently elected to the City Council, I previously served for a number of years, 14 and a half years on the Campbell City Council from 1996 to 2010. And I did serve on the VTA Policy Advisory Board during that time. I've served on the board of the National League of Cities and the board of the League of California Cities. So I've had a great deal of experience with committee membership and leadership. And transportation has always been very important to me. And likewise, I think it's extremely important that we in Santa Clara County fight for our fair share of the funds that MTC is able to control and award. So I would appreciate very much your consideration of my application for the MTC board. I feel that I have the experience and leadership to serve on this board and to represent you well. And I will definitely seek out your continuing opinions and fight very hard for our fair share of transportation funds. And I regularly use BART as well as VTA Light Rail too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Do we have either of the other two applicants remote?
I thought I disconnected my volume here.
And Susan, can you mute? Okay, there you go.
Am I on?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm Margaret Abe-Koga, council member from the city of Mountain View, as well as your president of the Cities Association. And I am asking for reappointment to the MTC this evening. I've had the honor to serve as your rep for the last 2 years, and I believe I've hit the ground running from the very beginning. What I've learned with MTC is it has a unique culture as well as a very steep learning curve. It's very technical with many complicated funding sources, and I've worked hard to learn both. I've worked hard to collaborate with my colleagues on the MTC and have gained key committee roles such as Vice Chair of the Bay Area Toll Authority, the BAFA, the Bay Area Housing Finance Authority, and the ad hoc committee on the recent hiring of the new executive director. I've also worked hard with our South Bay delegation to fight for our South Bay's fair share of funding and had success with getting $28 million extra in COVID relief funds for the VTA shooting tragedy that we had in 2021. We're at a critical juncture at this time at MTC as we bring on a new ED. We were talking about the fiscal cliff, and we have to continue to fight for funding for BART, Caltrain, as well as bike ped projects. And the regional housing and transportation measures are also on the table. I believe because of that, we need continuity and stability, and I bring those both to this role. And so I ask that you please reappoint me to this position, and I will continue to fight for our South Bay's fair share. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. I'm actually out of town attending a memorial service for one of our fallen firefighters and a good friend. So I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. And is the third applicant online? Okay, just checking. Okay, is there any member of the public wishing to do advocacy? Any hands raised?
Do not see any hands raised.
Is there any advocacy for those in the room? from those citizens? Go right ahead.
And by the city of Campbell, I'd like to advocate for Dan Furtado. Although he's new to the council this year, he did serve on the council in previous years for 14 years. He served as mayor for a couple of terms. He's a lifelong resident of Campbell. He understands the importance of regional planning. He's understands that collaboration is very important with all of our cities in the region. He's well aware of the challenges and with transportation issues. And as a bonus, I think he has great leadership skills, but he was also a veteran and an Army officer, and has demonstrated his leadership through those various positions that he's held as well. So, and there was a bit of a miscommunication with whether he should have been here tonight, and he wasn't aware that he should have, that he was invited to come and present himself. So that's why he's not here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other advocacy?
I'm advocating for Margaret Abicoga. And the reason I'm advocating for her is I work with her on the VTA board. She is a methodical thinker. She really thinks, I've seen her in action when she makes her decisions. And to me, institutionalized knowledge is really important. And she has experience, she's been there. And I know that she's really cares for this community, the county, and she will make the right decisions for us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I'd like to advocate for Margaret Abicoga, and the reasons are basically that it's a very difficult position that she's in, and it takes a long time to learn the information. So the experience is invaluable at this point. And I think that with the amount of money that she's been able to get to us, I think that's really good. So I think that I would vote for her.
Thank you. Anyone else? I will do a quick advocacy for Margaret. I think, one of the things that she's brought back to this board over the last 2 years, and it is, making sure that we're getting updates on MTC. And it is an organization in transition right now. And it's really critical that we have someone who understands what's happening internally and has those relationships with the leadership as things are changing quite a bit in MTC. And so between that and as experience with BTA, I think Margaret has the right skill set to be in that position. So I will be voting for Margaret. Seeing no other advocacy, may we have a voice vote?
Yes, we're voting for one.
Yeah, so one name.
Okay, Los Gatos,
Abicoga.
Morgan Hill,
Abicoga.
Los Altos, Gilroy,
Abicoga.
Palo Alto, Milpitas, Mountain View, Sunnyvale, San Jose, Monte Sereno,
Abicoga.
Campbell, Los Altos Hills,
Abicoga.
Cupertino, Santa Clara, Saratoga, okay, Abicoga with 13 votes.
Okay. And our next item is Recycling and Waste Reduction Commission, member at large. We have one nominee or one applicant. Are there any other nominations from the floor or remote? Being none.
I see one member of the public with their hand raised.
Sure.
Susan Landry. And Susan Landry, you will now be unmuted.
Thank you.
We're having problems again over
1
here.
second, Susan.
My understanding was that there was also an open position. So I don't know if you're voting on the 2 positions or just the 1.
Is there, I thought there was only one, correct?
There's one 5C.
Oh,
There are member at large and also West Valley Cities. Those are 2 different positions.
I
So
see.
that's why they're separated on the agenda.
okay.
This is the member at large position, and we currently have 1 applicant for that. There's no applicant for the West Valley Cities at this time, although there may well be between now and then.
Excellent. Is that clear, Susan?
Yes, so I'm applying for the second one.
Okay. I will put your name down. Thank you. So we have no other applicants for C. Vicki, would you like to use your advocacy or for your?
Thank you. I'll keep this short since I'm the only one, but first, like Russ, I want to say thank you so much for the confidence that you placed in me earlier with the earlier vote. So again, with this position like the others, I believe my technical background would be great help. I also think that, I'm trying to work on a suite of environmental issues, and I think that they interrelate, and understanding the landscape of how they work together would be quite helpful. I will also confess that early on in my patent career, I had actually considered becoming an environmental lawyer. And so instead, I did pro bono work for the Natural Resources Defense Council. And it so happens that I worked on Superfund sites where there had been solid waste disposal that was not good. And so looking at what one does with waste products, how that works into the environmental legal framework is something that I did early on and have kept abreast of since. So anyway, it would be a great honor to serve in this respect as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public wishing to do any advocacy?
Do not see any members of the public with the hand raised.
Thank you. Any advocacy from those in the room?
I have a clarifying question. So if we're voting for any one of those 2 or for 2?
We're only, for right now, we're dealing with 4C, member at large,
Okay,
with 1 nominee, which is Vicki.
thank you.
Stuff in the Q&A and chat.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's go ahead and have a voice vote.
Bonnie Sereno,
Aye.
Milpitas. Aye. Palo Alto. Yes. Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Sunnyvale.
Aye.
Campbell. Aye. Gilroy.
Yes.
Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
Cupertino. Aye. Los Altos. Yes. Santa Clara.
Yes.
Saratoga. Mountain View. Yes. San Jose. Aye. And Los Gatos. Apologies if I.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Next is item 4F, San Francisco Bay Restoration Authority. We have one letter of interest. Are there any other letters of, or any other nominees for this position in the room remotely? Okay. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat Showalter from the city of Mountain View. And I would respectfully ask for you to recommend that ABAG appoint me as a member of the Bay Restoration Authority. I served on the Restoration Authority for a few years during the time that we were working on getting the Measure AA passed. That passed handily, and that provides the Restoration Authority with funding or grants that are used for wetland restoration and all sorts of other kinds of educational projects. So it ties in well with my background I am a civil engineer by training, and I have always worked in water. The last 20 years of my career I worked in bay restoration and salmonid stream restoration. Some of you may have come across me with working on San Francisco Creek or Stevens Creek or the South Bay Salt Pond Project. I currently serve on the Bay Conservation and Development Commission, and there's a great synergy between BCDC and the Bay Restoration Authority. And I think that it would be, I would be a good voice, and I bring a technical background, which is a little unusual to this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any advocacy remote?
Yes, we have one member of the public with their hands raised. It's Alice Kaufman. You will now be unmuted and you will be given 1 minute to speak. The timer will begin when you begin.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone again. Alice Kaufman, Policy and Advocacy Director for Green Foothills. And I would like to speak on behalf of Pat Showalter for the Bay Restoration Authority. Vice Mayor Showalter has a long and impressive resume when it comes to Bay conservation and environmental conservation issues, including, as she just mentioned, previous service on the Bay Restoration Authority. She has a thorough understanding of the importance and the complexity of wetland restoration and sea level rise adaptation. We believe Pat Showalter would be the best choice for the Bay Restoration Authority. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No more members of the public.
Thank you. Is there any advocacy in the room?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Pat many years ago at the Don Edwards Estuary, the Educational Center, and I know that she has a passion to really make sure that the wetlands are pristine, and I really admire your skill set, and I really want you to be there. She has a passion for it, and I know that she has a passion and she really, really cares.
Thank you. Anyone else? And I just want to say, very quickly, I've been working with Pat in BCDC, and just seeing her liveliness, her enthusiasm for taking on these issues, and also her education from a background standpoint has really impressed me over the last few years, just in BCDC. And as she said, there's a lot of synergy between BCDC and what this position actually entails. So I'm happy to support her for this position. Seeing no other advocacy, may we have a voice vote?
Yes, Los Gatos,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Campbell. Gilroy,
Yes.
Los Altos,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
Palo Alto,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Sunnyvale,
Yes.
Saratoga. Palo Alto, oops. Cupertino, Monte Sereno,
All right.
San Jose, Milpitas, Mountain View.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now move on to appointments where we have not received letters prior to this meeting. First up is Measure A. Are there any nominations for this position? And just as a heads up, if we don't immediately fill this position tonight, we will have another selection committee. There's certain expirations that kind of fall later in the year, so we will be having another meeting from that standpoint. But are there any nominations for Measure A? I will put my name into the hat. Are there any other nominations remotely?
No.
Okay. And so let me do a quick bit of advocacy. Let me make myself short. So I've been, Measure A is one of the things that when I was first running for city council in 2016, it was one of the things that I also was out basically publicizing how important this was from a housing standpoint from a county. And, working with housing, housing is the biggest issue for all of our cities. Measure A is the funding, and that oversight board is critical to figure out, what the priorities of the different projects are, hearing those and making sure that those monies have the appropriate oversight. I talked to former Mayor Glenn Hendricks, who was our appointee for the last 3 years. And, it's a really important role. And, I'm happy to take on that responsibility and making sure that our funding, the critical Measure A funding is going to housing projects around the county to make sure that all of our cities are building the affordable housing that we should. I humbly request your support for this position. Thank you. Is there any remote advocacy? Thank you. Is there any advocacy for those in the room?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this is a very important position. And one of the things that's so important about it is the collaboration that's required between communities to make this work well. And Larry has demonstrated again and again his ability to foster that collaboration. And the county city collaboration is really important. So that's.
Thank you very much. Any other advocacy? Thank you. May we have a voice vote?
Campbell. Yes. Los Altos. Yes. Milpitas. Yes. Sunnyvale.
Yes.
San Jose. Palo Alto. Yes. Cupertino. Aye. Los Gatos.
Yes.
Los Altos Hills.
Yes.
Mountain View. Yes. Santa Clara.
Yes.
Morgan Hill.
Yes.
Saratoga. Monte Sereno.
Aye.
Gilroy.
Yes.
And motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is item 5B, the Redevelopment Dissolution Countywide Oversight Board, Santa Clara County, alternate position. This position is required to be a mayor. So currently I'm the primary. I've been the primary now for, I think, 3 years. And they meet probably quarterly. But if there are anyone who wants to nominate themselves or their mayor, if the mayor isn't in the room, definitely it's an important position. I've only missed one meeting because of COVID. They are back in person now, and I missed the meeting 3 weeks ago, and so that was the first meeting I'd missed. But it's shutting down redevelopment over the long haul for all of our cities, and so the amount of work is slowly decreasing, but it's still, there's still the legal intricacies of actually shutting down redevelopment has been a long effort to some degree. So are there any nominees for this position? Yes.
Actually, I'm a lifelong learner, and I'd like to try it. Maybe it's,
It's interesting, as we see, and some of it still affects, I think, six of our cities. So we're still, it's a slow shutdown from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I was on city council when back when Governor Brown mandated that we all get rid of our lands, properties. So I'm familiar, and I'm familiar with some of this stuff. So I would like to try it out.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any remote advocacy? Actually, no other nominations? Okay, is there any remote advocacy? Any advocacy in the room?
I just have a question. How, you were just elected mayor, and what's your term?
2 more years.
2 more years. I think that it would be a great thing to do for the next 2 years.
Pointing out as you're pointing out, one of the difficulties of maintaining this position is it's only a limited number of mayors that are there for more than 1 year and has some of those difficulties, yes. And I just want to, so I'll do some advocacy. Thanks for the interest. You know, definitely, it's important for all of us to try new things, but also, you know, having a primary and alternate and making sure that this organization is represented as much as possible is really critical. So I hope not to miss any meetings, but I thank you for your interest in being the secretary.
Thank you.
With that,
I really want to advocate for Carmen. She's energetic and she does what she's been, and she's just elected. She has the continuity, so really great. Thank you for setting that.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? And with that, let's have a voice vote.
Palo Alto,
Yes, thank you, Carmen.
Los Gatos,
Yes.
San Jose,
Aye.
Sunnyvale,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Los Altos,
Yes.
Monte Sereno,
Aye.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
Mountain View,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Aye.
Cupertino, oops, apologies. Been working this out. Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Recycling and Waste Reduction Commission, West Valley Cities, Campbell, Los Gatos, Monte Sereno, and Saratoga. We have one nominee, Susan Landry. Is there any other nominee?
Yes, I would like to nominate myself for that position.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else remote with a raised hand? Other than Susan?
One moment, please. We do have Susan Landry raising her hand, but no one else.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it my turn to speak now?
Yeah, so you have 90 seconds, Susan.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Susan Landry. I've been on the Campbell City Council for 6 years. I'm currently vice mayor. I'm a landscape architect by profession and have worked in designing public work projects for over 40 years. I've been on the Recycling and Waste Reduction Committee for the past 4 years, and I was chair for 2 of those years. I'm very passionate about understanding our waste stream processes and want to work with others to find solutions to the problems and issues created by our generation of waste products, whether it be water, sewer, power, or trash. I am pursuing my passion. I have been pursuing my passion beyond this committee. My background includes working for Santa Clara University, dealing with the refuse collection and facilities team, evaluating processes and sorting as it relates to different built features. My work was to deal with circulation routes, refuse collection, location of bins, screening bins to look more attractive, and designing functional and operational service yards layouts with compactors, EV bins, and all the equipment associated with recycling. And my little claim to fame is I designed the trash can, which has a peak on the roof so a bottle falls off, a pizza box fits in the opening, and the door in the back tilts in the can so you can change the bag without straining your back, and it looks attractive. Thank you, and I appreciate being able to speak tonight.
Thank you very much, Susan. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm the chair of West Valley Solid Waste Management Authority, and I've been on that for 3 years. I did a ride along in 2022 with one of our drivers. We just completed a 10-year hauling contract, so I've been through all the waste side. I've been involved in SB 1383 for 3 years now, and I also chair the West Valley, I have a passion for sustainability. I chair the West Valley Clean Water Authority, and I'm also on Silicon Valley Clean Energy. I've been involved since 2018. I'm the vice chair of the executive committee and chair of the audit committee. And now, last night, I was on the appointed to the legislative committee. So I've got a lot of passion for this. And I had submitted a letter, but I was a little late on that.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any remote advocacy? Thank you. Is there any advocacy in the room for either of the candidates? And I'll just say, you know, both of them, I've worked with both and they both have a passion for environmental and environmental issues. I do think that Mayor Makachek, you ultimately what you brought up as far as 1383 and all the and many of those issues and working with West Valley Recycling already is really important. So I definitely lean towards your way, but we'll see where the vote goes. So with that, we'll have to do a voice vote for each candidate. Landry,
Voting for one. Thank you. Okay, Los Gatos,
Makachek.
Monty Sereno,
Makachek.
Palo Alto, Santa Clara, Campbell, Landry, Gilroy,
Makachek.
Los Altos, Mountain View, Landry, San Jose, Landry, Sunnyvale,
Makachek.
Morgan Hill,
Makachek.
Saratoga, Chino, Los Altos Hills,
Makachek.
Milpitas, Okay, with 12 votes, Makachek, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 6, and this appointment, because we've already appointed Councilmember Melton as the primary, we now have an alternate position on LAFCO, and we have 2 nomination letters. Is there anyone else who wishes to nominate for this position, nominate themselves or someone else? Is there anyone remote? With hand raised. Thank you. We'll go to, looks like only Rob is here.
Marcus, no, Marcus.
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Yes. Rob, you have 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you all. Good evening, mayors, vice mayors, and council members. My name is Rob Moore, and I'm a newly elected council member from the town of Los Gatos. Because the oddities is process we already mentioned, I'll just read the letter that I submitted because most of you all probably haven't read it. As a lifelong environmentalist and conservation professional, I see LAFCO as an integral body to create the best possible future for Santa Clara County. I deeply value LAFCO's mission of minimizing sprawl, preserving open space, encouraging efficiency of services, fiscal sustainability, and accountability and transparency. I believe I'll bring a unique perspective and valuable perspective to LAFCO. I've been involved with environmental protection and conservation for my entire professional career. Some of my environmental experiences include running a large-scale environmental campaign to ban fracking in San Luis Obispo County, and spearheading and overseeing the creation of a 30-member climate action corps in Santa Clara County, which actually focused on SB 1383 implementation, and facilitating partnerships required for the city of San Jose to implement the Resilience Corps program, which is the first of its kind sustainability-focused program to support hundreds of unemployed and underemployed young adults in San Jose. Correspondingly, I'm very supportive of sustainable growth and recognize the real need to build more housing. I've been intimately involved in the general plan and the housing element processes in Los Gatos, where I fought against hillside development and for the creation of more efficient, more sustainable development throughout the community.
I believe these experiences, among others, complement LAFCO's goals of curbing sprawl and preserving open space well. Thank you all.
Thank you. And Mayor Turner?
Thank you. Likewise, I feel strongly about the objectives of LAFCO and the curbing sprawl, but I think more importantly, what South County needs is some representation. And so for that reason, I'd like to be appointed to LAFCO as the alternate.
Thank you. Is there any remote advocacy?
There is one hand raised as well.
Of course, I'm going to advocate for South County. We absolutely need someone. It is just the alternate position, but we've got most of the land, and it's very important that we have a voice even as the alternate. So that will be my request. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any advocacy for those in the room?
We have one more.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, Alice Kaufman, you will now be unmuted. The timer will begin when you begin speaking.
Thank you. Good evening again, everyone. I'm Alice Kaufman, Policy and Advocacy Director with Green Foothills, and I'd like to speak on behalf of Rob Moore. Councilmember Moore is a conservation professional who has dedicated his career to environmental work. At the same time, he understands the need for sustainable growth in the right place. Councilmember Moore has shown the dedication and commitment necessary to serve on LAFCO, a commission whose mission and policies are extremely complex and which require thoughtful and thorough review. We believe Rob Moore would be the best choice for the alternate seat on LAFCO. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No more speakers.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone in the room? Go right ahead.
Thank you, Matthew Hudis. I'd like to speak on behalf of Rob Moore and advocate for his appointment to this position. I have personal experience in working with Rob. His energy and his attention to detail, as well as his ability to look at several sides of an issue, have really impressed me in the time that I've served with him on the council. We do need voices like Rob, who have grown up in the area and have experienced the impacts of growth. I would also say that in particular, his professional experience is directly related to this area, and he has taken the time to learn many of the aspects that relate to both land use and environmental issues that are at the intersection of those two. And so I would strongly advocate for Rob Moore.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for any other advocacy? Yes.
I'm going to advocate for Gilroy because they need to be at the table because they have so much land over there and they're not represented. So I really feel that I'm about equity and fairness, and I think that Gilroy needs to be at the table. So I'm advocating for Gilroy.
Good enough, close enough.
Any other advocacy? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna be advocating for Mayor Turner as well. I second what Mayor Montano said. I do believe that they have a lot of open space land, and in a way of preserving, I think there's a lot to do with sustainability and also urban sprawl, but we have to look at it in a balanced manner and not overuse the lands out there and build what is not necessary. So I think that representation is necessary in a balanced manner for all of the Bay Area and your city and your area of this. So
Thank you. Any other advocacy? Go ahead.
So I'm torn on this one, and I'm really torn. And there's a couple of things, and I'll just explain my rationale. One is, where's the land that could be affected by LAFCO. Is it in the, in the North County or the South County? I think it's the South County. Having said that, I spent 3 hours driving to 2.5 hours driving to Sacramento and back with Rob, going to the new mayors and council members meetings there. And I found him to be incredibly knowledgeable and easy to talk with, etc. Where I'm going with this is whichever one doesn't make the vote, I look to them to attend meetings and to help with LAFCO. And I think we heard earlier how important it is to be at those meetings. And I know that only an the alternate can get appointed to the committees. So that's the only downside to not being the alternate, so.
Thank you.
But does that mean they can't attend?
No, they can attend, but if you're an alternate, you can go on to a subcommittee. Like when I was on Silicon Valley Clean Energy, although I was the alternate, I could still go on to certain committees. And I think it's the same. That's what we heard earlier.
So I'm also torn. I love representation. I think that's very important, but I also value more expertise. And I personally think he could advocate for both South and North County. So I do love representation, but I value, it's not just because you are in South County that you want to, it has to have that passion and that expertise. So I'm more inclined to vote for someone who knows that subject already and can represent the whole region in a really aggressive and environmental friendly way. So.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
The other thing that I was told when I joined one of my first JPAs was you don't represent the city that you're from. You have to represent the whole area. So it's not a South County versus a North County. I think it's, if you were there, you have to be thinking what's best for the area that the JPA is or whatever. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Absolutely. And I'll do a quick advocacy. I think, for me, I have this same conflicts. And it's knowledge, but it's also representation. It's an equity issue. For me, either candidate's going to is a positive candidate. And I'm hoping that, whatever happens for either of you, please, there'll be other positions opening later this year. There's also environmental related. So with that, obviously, yes.
Yeah, right. I kind of feel like the odd person out here because I'm actually alternate, taking the place of Buzz James. But his name wasn't called. It was actually Lisa Gilmore's name that was called. So I don't understand the dynamics there. I did meet Rob earlier this meeting, and I'm really torn because I feel like Rob's a great guy. But when it comes to representation, I feel that even though I can speak, for example, I could be on the pregnancy board on behalf of my wife, but I don't know that I would be the most effective person on that board. And I do feel that Rob, I feel the energy in him, and I feel that he can have an effect on this board, on the board, without having to be an alternate. And I think that there are other opportunities. It's not how I don't know how I'm going to vote yet, but that's just how I'm thinking right now, which is I do feel that even though you can represent another party, if there's a chance for that party to represent themselves, that's what I'm thinking about.
Okay, thank you very much.
So Chair, can I make a request?
Yeah.
Because Mayor Turner didn't say much about his passion, why he wants, just because he's in South County. I'd like to hear your passion on this issue. What you experience, how you are going to be effective on the board, not just because you represent South County, but also you represent your passion or your expertise.
Right, thank you, and I appreciate that. And it is something, I think most of my passion lies in South County, I'll tell you that. That's just part of where it's at. We do have most of the land that would be affected by this. And so I do feel that it's very, very important to have a representation of those who know South County best and have the ability to speak on behalf of those applicants and those who are most affected by it. Certainly would have the ability to be involved and to be able to be an advocate for every part of the county that we'd be dealing with. My passion lies in South County. I'm not going to lie about that.
And how about your expertise in this area, your study, your past, experience in issues that.
And land use issues, my history and my past is having been the CEO of the Gilroy Chamber of Commerce, dealing with local issues, land issues, city council, those sorts of things. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to speak one more time too, when offered.
Okay.
All right, Larry? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know, but everybody's spoken at least more than once to others. So I just want to say that while this is a position that of course is representative of the entire county, I think we all know that nobody knows the issues in your city or in your area, better than you who live there. So that's really what this is. LAFCO is about land use and how that gets done everywhere. And that's pretty hard to trump when you're not so familiar with a particular area that you're speaking of. So that's why I'm advocating for someone who is from South County. We have had South County representatives on this before. We just don't now, unless we go here. So I appreciate what everybody's saying. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Stan Moore,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills. I'm going to advocate for Rob, and the reason being is that I did have a conference with him earlier today, and I was very, very impressed with his knowledge. I know that he really has his heart in this area. So I know that it's also important to have equal representation. So I am a bit torn with this. I would still go back to who will do the best job, who will advocate for that position, who will study for that position, who will go out and do the best that they possibly can, give their full time and effort into it. And then I believe that that person is Rob.
Thank you. Anyone else? And with that, may we have a voice vote?
Okay. Gilroy,
Turner,
Los Gatos,
Moore,
Monty Sereno,
No. I know that I hear both sides, but I know that Rob will be there at the meetings. And in a way, I don't know if it's better to be the alternate and have a voice, or to have the alternate and someone else. You still kind of have the same voice, but I will say Turner.
Okay.
thank you. Campbell, Los Altos,
Oh, boy.
Not an easy choice.
No, it is not an easy choice. I'll go with geography. Turner.
Morgan Hill,
this is tough.
San Jose, Moore, Saratoga, Moore, Cupertino, Moore, Milpitas, Turner, Mountain View, Moore, Santa Clara,
Just repeat what Brian said. Turner.
Los Altos Hills,
Moore.
Sunnyvale,
Not an easy choice. I will go with Turner.
Palo Alto, Turner. Turner with 8 votes, Moore with 7 votes.
Thank you all. And especially that last vote was not an easy vote. I totally understand, two very good candidates, and I'm hoping that they will work together, to work with, of course, our primary. So thank you for that. And mayors, I think this is the first time the selection committee has actually did all their nominations within the selected period. So thank you for your advocacy, for your succinctness, and I appreciate, this process. So thank you for being here. And your ask. And
So I'll say two things. First of all, thanks for running a great meeting. It was a difficult meeting. And then I also want to thank Los Altos for a great facility, and this is a fabulous venue. So thanks, everyone.
thank you. And you have 3 minutes before our next meeting.